Welcome everyone back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Fox Farm Brewery, and they are out of Salem, Connecticut, and this is their Votive batch number 3, and this is the 2022 release. So this is a double barrel Imperial Stout aged in sherry and bourbon barrels. It comes in at 14.2% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. And this bottle is just under 2.5 years old. I want to give a huge thanks, shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Rick, for this beer. So absolutely huge thanks to him for this one. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies that Rick hooked me up with, and he sent me an amazing beer mail early last year. It was over a year ago, and I think it included 18 or 19 beers, a lot of them, I think the vast majority of them from the New England region in the US, and I have 2 left. I have this, and I have from New Park their Crane, which is an barrel-aged Imperial Stout. But I was in the mood for this one because it's double barreled and we got sherry cask. So this one is quite interesting. So it is aged for 12 months in both, I think it's called Amontillado sherry casks and Willett bourbon barrels. And then it's aged for an additional 12 months in Oloroso sherry casks and a bourbon trace of bourbon barrels, 14.2%. Now, I've mentioned this before, but when it comes to like barrel-aged beers, I love if you're throwing these beers into like sherry casks or port wine barrels or brandy, cognac, that's more of my speed. Like I can get down with the bourbon and whiskey and rum and everything, but like just give me that, give me those sweeter. But even like sherry's more dry, but like the wine, something different, right? Fruited wine barrels, like if I had peach brandy barrels and things like that, that's what I like. That's what I like personally. So I'm really looking forward to this. It's Fox Farm, one of the best breweries in my opinion in the US. Now, this has been in my fridge since he sent it, so we're talking about, somewhere around, I think, it's been what, probably like 14 months? Yeah. Anyway, we're going to pour this one into the glass and get into it. And we'll see if I drink this all tonight. Oh my God. We'll see if I drink this all tonight, but this is pouring out like fucking motor oil. Wow. Okay. I'm going to drink at least that much because it's in my glass now. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat. And I'm going to cheat. And I just cheated. It is what it is. Anyway. Yeah, there's no head in that. I didn't pour it like super aggressive. But yeah, beer like this, 14.2%, barrel age, everything, you're probably not going to get much of a head. There are sheets. There's not legs, there's sheets. It just is covering, it's clinging to the glass. It's almost turning the glass like a dark brown with the stains. Hold up to light, it's pitch black. Yeah, on camera, pitch black. I would think if it could even form like a half finger of head, it would be just like straight up dark brown. It looked like it had decent carbonation, but again, it's not generating head. It's double barrel aged. It's 14.2%. I just don't expect it. But it looks kind of like what you expect. There is some condensation. Again, this is out of my darker beer fridge. This is probably like 56, 57 now. I think it's perfect drinking temperature. Looking on the bottle, see if they say anything about what temperature to drink it at. Because I try to listen to the breweries because they're the ones brewed it, but I don't see anything. Maybe on the other side. I don't know. Let's get a nose. Wow. Oh. Just got goosebumps for a second. Not because it smells amazing, but because the alcohol's fucking intense. Holy shit. The barrel's off the top. It smells of just sherry and bourbon. Sweet, dark fruits. Caramel. Peppery, like bourbon. Sweet. It's almost like a Black Forest cake in beer form. But with like maybe if you had a Black Forest cake and you did like a sherry glaze on it or something, that's exactly what this smells like. Yeah, so the base beer, fudgy, brownie batter, chocolate. It smells very rich and decadent, but like not super confectionery sweet when I'm going to taste it, hopefully. And just look at the legs, how it just felt. Look at these, there's like little rainbows of legs. That's crazy. But yeah, tons of fudgy, brownie batter, chocolate. There's a little bit of roasted malt, but this one's really heavy on the chocolate. Those dark fruits, whether it's coming, again, like it has that like grapey kind of fruity vibe you'd get from like a sherry, but also just has like other like again, cherry, dark cherry, maybe like a plum, date, raisin, fig. In that realm. I wouldn't specify any of them outside of maybe like a dark black cherry. Should have just said black cherry. Dark black cherry. Dark cherry. Yeah, we'll say dark cherry, black cherry. There's a nice vanilla presence, probably from the actual barrels. But again, it's the predominant note in the nose are those barrels. It's almost like stinging my nostrils how intense the barrel is in this. Oh, it smells fucking delightful. Does it smell like it's going to be 14.2%? Yes. Yes, it does. Oh, this is where, like, I'm probably going to cap the rest of that. But this right here in my glass, what is this? Probably like 8 ounces, maybe 7, 8 ounces. This is going to carry me through the next couple hours. I'm going to take a sip every little once in a while, let it warm up and come to room temp and whatnot. But it smells fucking delightful. Yeah, I want to get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Rick. Wow. I'm actually happy that the taste is significantly different than the nose, believe it or not. Oh. Wow. 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 Oh, wow. Owen Wilson. One more sip, because this one's toying with my emotions, playing with my emotions. I am at a loss at how different the taste is than the nose. And not necessarily in a bad way or anything, just in a substantially different way. All right, let's do body mouthfeel. Body, this is a thick boy, okay, 14.2%. It's like medium full body. It's not Pulpit Rocks of the world. It's not Media Noche from Weldworks. It doesn't have the thickness that some of those have, but it's definitely not thin. Maybe for 14.2%, it's a bit thin. Shout out to Paul over at PA Brew News. This is, like body-wise, maybe like a 12, 13% beer, but 14.2, not as much. But it's not thin, it's not watery or anything. It just doesn't have a full-on, like super thick mouthfeel. But it's appropriate. It's definitely appropriate. The mouthfeel, this has more carbonation than I really anticipated pouring it out. The fact that it's almost 2.5 years old. It has a very big, like moderate carbonation. It's not crisp, it's not effervescent, but it's a little bit spritzy on the palate, which is cool, but not what I expected. It has a smoothness on the back of the palate, not creamy or anything. So I'll say this: the body really nice, the mouthfeel also really nice, but not anything spectacular. The taste, this let me tell you about why it's so different than the nose. The nose, rich, decadent, sweet. I'm talking about Black Forest cakes and brownie batter and fudge, and you're thinking to yourself, probably listen to that, be like, wow, this is gonna be a big, sweet, boozy monster of a beer. And you'd be wrong, just like I'm wrong, because it's not a huge, sweet, boozy monster of a beer. Why? Despite the fact that I'm typically not a huge fan of like super dry beers, this is a bone dry for me, which is incredible based on the fact that it's 14.2%. The fact that it was aged basically for 2 years, back to back with the, and blended and everything. Right now, as I'm talking to you, after that last sip, which was a minute or two ago, like it still has that oak tannin, like firm dryness, which I've mentioned before. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I think it might actually work in this beer based on all the tasting notes and the aroma and everything going on in this beer. I think it works. So let me try to break this one down. Probably not going to do a good job, but it is the Beer Patrol. That's what we do here. Poorly. So forefront. A little bit of that like stinging carbonation hits and then it instantly dissipates on the tip of the tongue. And there is a lot of chocolate here. But unlike the fudgy brownie batter kind of nose, it's more of just like a rich kind of dark chocolate that's like a Hershey's dark chocolate in terms of the sweetness level, but like a high quality chocolate. Don't get me wrong. Listen, I'm not a snob when it comes to beer. I'm not a snob when it comes to food. Look at me, I'm fat. I like all kinds of food. And I like Hershey's Special Dark, right? So when someone's like, oh, it tastes like Hershey's Special Dark, and they say that in like a negative, like has a negative connotation to it, I'm like, wait, well, hold up. I like me some Hershey's Special Dark. Do I compare it to like an artisan chocolate? I do not, but I do enjoy it. It's like somebody who likes McDonald's or Burger King or whatever kind of fast food. You can't compare it to like a real good like gourmet burger or even like a great smash burger. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So the chocolate here is like if you took a Hershey Special Dark, but it was artisan. So it was a sweeter. So like a lot of times I love like my jam's like 50, 60, 70% cacao bars. But if this was like more like a 30 or 40% or just like a real nice, like rich dark chocolate from like your local chocolatier, that's kind of what I'm getting in here. There's nice roasted malt qualities at the forefront, which I wasn't really getting in the nose. There's underlying caramel and toffee, molasses, stuff in that realm, like different tasting notes that kind of fit the bill for the style, but necessarily I wasn't picking up on in the aroma. Those dark fruits are omnipresent. Could be from the sherry, the base beer, whatever. I'm getting dark cherry or black cherry, plum, a touch of like a raisin. However, on the second half of the palate, the spirits come in, and that sherry is mixing with the bourbon, and I'm going right to like, again, I've said this before and maybe a review or two, but like if they had like a cherry or like a grape or something of that nature that was like drizzled in like caramel or toffee, like a toffee or caramel covered dark fruit of some sort. That's kind of what I'm getting here. Or even like you took like a grape and you dipped it in chocolate. I never did that. Or sorry, not chocolate, caramel. I've never done that, but like that's kind of what I'm getting in terms of the tasting notes. Again, it finishes full on dry. There's that oak, like lingering oak tannin kind of feeling. And then there's enough vanilla on the second half of the palate too, where you could even say like yogurt covered raisins or yogurt covered cherries if they exist. I think I've mentioned that in like maybe a review prior in like the last month or so. Said the same thing. I've never had, yogurt covered cherries before, but I've had yogurt covered raisins. They're delicious, but kind of in that kind of realm where it's like, okay, it's some kind of darker fruit covered in like yogurt, like a hard yogurt. The vanilla is prominent, but not like over the top. Again, firmly dry because of the oak tannins or the perceived oak tannins. Not really bitter. It has like a mild to maybe moderate bitterness, more approaching a mild than anything. Here's the thing, the booziness, huge warming in my chest. My chest isn't on fire, but it's very warm going down and I feel it. So I know this is a big boozy beer. However, it's not astringent on the palate, which really I'm thankful for, because in the nose I was saying how boozy it was, and yeah, you smell it. You smell the barrels, they're fucking there, but like on the palate, you really can't detect any kind of astringency. I like this drinking temperature, although I think another 5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit, it's probably going to open up even a little bit more. There's a little bit of like a tobacco leathery type of thing going on, almost like a cigar paper on the finish as well. This is really tasty. But it's not blowing me away like some of Fox Farm stuff, like where I'm like losing my shit over it. Because when I get beers like this, I'm like, again, I try not to go into reviews of preconceived notions, but if beers are going to get a substantially high score and I'm going to lose my shit, a beer like this is going to probably where I just go nuts in a review. And the nose was shaping up to be that when I'm talking about those rich, decadent, complex, sweeter flavors that I'm thinking it's just going to be awesome on the palate. It's going to just be amazing. And don't get me wrong, this is a fucking fantastic beer. It's just not upper echelon of what I've had from Fox Farm, but also some of the other barrel-aged beers I've had recently. Could be the age, again, almost 2.5 years old. Maybe this was a little bit more vibrant, fresher, but I mean, I'm going to have no problems drinking the rest of this. I'm fucking loving it. And it's going to get a high score, like a really high score. It's just, I got to kind of break it apart when I'm reviewing it. You got to kind of tear it down a little bit to see, what are the negatives. And I love, the body and the mouthfeel are really appropriate. But I think the taste kind of went a little bit sideways from the nose. I think if the nose carried over, I would have lost all of my shit on this. So I think this is really well done. I probably should have drank it relatively fresh. Well, when he sent it to me, it was already a year old. So, it's not like it was super fresh or anything. I don't think this went like sideways based on the aging or whatever. I think you could probably age this another couple of years and be fine. It's just, I think as somebody who, as I've stated in this review already, doesn't love exceptionally dry beers, especially like with the perceived oak tannin dryness, I think that's where this one kind of loses me a little bit from being like one of my favorite beers this year. That said, really cool. Rick was, nice enough to send me about. I mean, he sent me some fucking crazy beers, and this was one of them. And the fact that I'm able to even drink a beer like this because of the kindness of someone like Rick is just, it's not lost on me. And I'm super, super appreciative towards Rick and everybody else who has ever sent me some fucking beer, period, let alone if it's amazing like this. But, you got to be honest with what you're working with here. And I'll say this is a fucking fantastic beer. It's going to get a high score. I really like it, but it's not one of my favorites that I've had this year as far as like barrel-aged beers go. So Fox Farm Votive, their batch number 3, the 2022 release. This, my friends, is going to get a low 4.5. I'm going to go 4.4. Yeah, all of that, so I can give this a low 4.5. You're right, but I said I was going to get a high score. But, you know, a lot of times when I'm drinking a beer like this, I'm talking 4.75, 4.8, 5 out of 5. This is not that beer, but it's still really good. And a 4.4 is a really high score, and I'm going to enjoy every second of drinking this. I guess what could make this better for me personally? Well, let's tone down on that oak tannin dryness. I think it works for this beer, but I also don't think it works for my palate, like specifically. I would like it toned down quite a bit. I would also like that rich, fudgy brownie batter, you know, kind of just fudge-like chocolate character to carry over as well. And to really get it up to that crazy level, the thickness of the beer would have to be on the levels of those Pulpit Rock and the Media No Shade from Well Works. Like, it just makes the drinking experience so fun when it's so thick and just fucking, it's almost dessert-like, because that's what these beers are at 14.2%. You're drinking the calories of like a huge piece of cake and stuff. So it's like, I want it to be on that level, and it's not, but I'm okay with it because it's still a fucking delicious beer. Price point availability. I believe Rick said these were $18 a bottle. This is a 16.9 fluid ounce bottle, so 500 milliliters, just over $1 an ounce. I'm fine with that. For something that's, you know, double barrel aged, literally aged for 2 years, like, yeah, just paying over $1 an ounce, no issues with that. And then availability, pretty sure beers like this are brewery only from Fox Farm. They released this one back in 2022. They've done, I think, other batches since then. But if you live in and around the Salem, Connecticut area, or you have somebody that goes to Fox Farm regularly, yeah, see if you can get a bottle of this. I want to say this beer probably changes every year, like maybe the barrels they use, maybe the recipe, whatever the case may be. I don't know. Rick, anybody else, let me know. But I think I would love to try like a fresher bottle of this at some point. But also if they do like a different kind of variant of it, I think it would be fun to try. But it's fucking delicious beer. Like, there's not much more to say about it. So I'm going to shut this one down. Huge thanks to Rick. Rick, I got that crane from New Park. I'm going to try to get to that in the next month or so that my beer mail that you sent my way is finally done and finished. I do apologize for waiting so long. I was hoping to maybe share this with maybe the FLX boys or other people, but, you know, I was just kind of in the mood for this one. I wanted to drink it. Let me just take one more sip, make sure 4.4 out of 4 is where I'm landing this. Get a little bit of coffee roast too. I will say this about Fox Farm. This is probably a fucking 20+ minute review. I don't know. I just lose. When I review beers like this, you guys know I lose track of time, and a lot of you click off anyway, like halfway through, or probably just get to where I rate it and just go on with your lives, which I totally understand. I think Fox Farm, when I say they're one of the best breweries in America, the reason why I say that is because they nail the vast majority of the styles out there. Like, I've had amazing hazy IPAs, hazy double IPAs. I've had amazing lagers, low ABV beers from them that aren't lagers. I've had a brown ale from them. It was quite tasty. Then they do wild ales and fucking farmhouse beers, and then double-barreled Imperial Stouts and fucking barley wine. They do them all incredibly well. And there's not many breweries out there that just nail all these styles and like, you know, top tier at doing them. So Fox Farm, to me, if I had to say like one of my favorite breweries, Fox Farm would probably be in the top 5 right now, if not the top 3. They just do amazing stuff, and it makes me sad that I can't get my hands on them regularly. Folks like Rick and another viewer of the channel, a good friend of mine, Steven, have sent beers to me before from Fox Farm, and it's just really cool to be able to try stuff. But I do wish they were more local to me so I could drink their stuff more often. So anyway, I'm gonna shut this one down. If you've had this one before, or any other batch or any other release, please post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. Once again, huge thanks to Rick for this one. Thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.